Red Hot Oilers get a Sunday visit from the Scorching Devils in a matinee matchup. We're going to get you set for Edmonton and New Jersey right here on the Oil Stream pregame show. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a great weekend as we get set for a little Oilers hockey this afternoon, taking on the New Jersey Devils, continuing this 6-game homestand, looking to make it 7 straight victories. Can they do it? The Devils playing really well. Are the Oilers going to continue to find ways? Will they have their streak stopped by a team in New Jersey that has wins in 6 of its last 7, coming off a victory yesterday afternoon in Calgary? Of course, we want to hear from you, 780-218-9999 if you're texting in. And if you're watching on our YouTube channel, of course, you can hit us up via the nasty chat, and we highly encourage that. As always, Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you. We will be joined shortly by Catherine Bogart from NJD TV. She'll give us the scoop on those Devils, and then we'll also catch up with Cass a little bit later on with Game Changers coming up at around 1:20 or so. YouTube Trev, good day, sir. How you doing?
Good day, Tommy. How we doing? Yeah, it's going good. I get up for these days. I like them a lot. It's nice. The Oilers play, and then you can go on with the rest of your day. So I love the matinees. The record, the Oilers they've always seemed to struggle with the matinees. I don't know, for whatever reason. But yeah, it's nice. I like it. It's going to be good. First time seeing New Jersey this year. There's a lot to like about that team. Lindy Ruff has definitely got the boys going. Man, just looking at their roster, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but they've got some seriously skilled talent. So it's going to be a very exciting game, very fun, very fast and entertaining, and it should be a good one. So yeah, I'm buzzing right now.
Oh, yeah, you are. Were you buzzing last night? Did you have fun last night? What'd you do?
Yeah, I opened some 6 o'clock lagers. It was funny. My roommate, I gave him one finally, and he texted me, and he's like, yeah, I could definitely crush like a case of that. And I'm like, absolutely, man. They go down so good. So yeah, just went to Old Stomping Grounds at BP's and got some video editing done. Had a few more beers, and it was a good night. I can't complain. Watched some hockey. Watched a little bit of the Lakers win in the in-season tournament. I know Dusty was watching that. So yeah, a lot of sports last night. It was a very good night.
6 o'clock lager, man. I'm seeing some tweets right now or some posts on X. I don't know what to call it anymore, about people crushing 6 o'clockers, selling like crazy, like hotcakes. And actually, DVD, who we all know and love, who joins us on the program from time to time from NHL.com, said he had his first 6 o'clock lager last night. He texted me, he's like, this is good stuff. I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's really good stuff. So if you're having a 6 o'clock lager out there, cheers to you. If I had a conch, I would hit you with one, but that's for the boys to do tomorrow morning on the Nielsen Show. All right, so the Oilers 11-12-1, taking on a Devils squad that's 14-10-1. This is the 25th game of the season for the Edmonton Oilers. Can they get back to 500 today? I don't want to say tonight. That would be a mistake, but it'll be a tough one for the Oil. I'll throw out the question of the day as well. This one's kind of a fun one, easier to kind of deal with, if you will. And it has to do with Connor McDavid and how well he's been performing lately. 21 points in his last 8. Do you think Connor McDavid will take over the NHL scoring lead eventually this season? He's 13 points back of Nikita Kucherov with 4 games in hand as of Sunday. Of course, McDavid's only played 22 of the 24 Oilers games this season, missed a couple of games with that, what we believe, oblique injury earlier this season. Do you think McDavid's going to take over the scoring lead? Simple as that. 780-218-9999, and then via the nasty chat, talk amongst yourselves, as Mike Myers used to say on Saturday Night Live. Monroe with the early text today says, is the EST gang going to be at a restaurant or doing any pregame stuff anywhere today? Worked all week, have the day off, and would love to get out and watch the game. Maybe meet some of the crew. It's been a week. Car chases. My vehicle was rammed. So much crazy that a midday game and a beer sound like the answer to it all. Wish I could track down some 6 o'clocker lager, but that stuff is harder to find than Waldo. Wow. I should mention I'm a cop and the car chases were legit on my side. Cheers, gents. Keep up the quality programming. Monroe, the boys, I don't believe are out anywhere. We are planning on potentially having some more watch parties at some local establishments. I highly recommend Boston Pizza, our good friends there. They have some game day specials. I think it's $5 off of medium pizzas, as well as some shot specials and some beer specials. So BP, old reliable. And then we do have, if you're just looking for a bite to eat, Popeyes is great. And so we highly encourage going over there. Or one of our sponsors on Hello Hockey, which is Saturdays at 10 a.m. right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, local public eatery. The crew always has the TVs going. My favorite spot, Jasper Ave location. Say hi to Dean and the crew there. And they also have some excellent specials. My favorite bite to eat is the Pinche Tacos. I think they're $10.50 on special on Sundays, because there's a lot of football going on today. So Monroe, I hope the Oilers can provide you with a good afternoon after a tough week. And thank you for doing all that you do, you and the rest of the police force in and around our city, because that's not easy, man. And there's a lot of crap that's going on that people don't see from day to day. Appreciate you tuning in and texting in. This one says, Looney Len. I'll get to that text a little bit later on. Let's take a look at lineups, because we do have Catherine Bogart coming up in about 5 or 6 minutes or so. Question of the day one more time. With 21 points in his last 8 games, do you think Connor McDavid will take over the NHL scoring lead eventually this season? As of today, 13 points back of Nikita Kucherov, who has 4 games in hand. Starting lineups. Here's what we're anticipating from the Oilers. Of course, they did practice yesterday. No availability, no skate today with the early start. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl with Kane and Brown. McLeod between Fogle and Janmark. Hamblin with Gagne and Ryan. Nurse paired up with Ceci. Ekholm with Bouchard. Kulak with Desharnais. Out for the Oil unless something changes, which is possible, and we'll find out during warm-up. Holloway, of course, lower body. He's on the IR. Ernie and Gleason would be the healthy scratches if there are no changes. As for the Devils, here's how they lined up yesterday afternoon in Calgary. Jack Hughes between Eric Holla and Tyler Toffoli. Nico Hischier with Andre Palat and Jesper Bratt. Dawson Mercer with Timo Meyer and former Oil King Curtis Lazar. And then you have Michael McLeod, brother of Ryan, with Alexander Holtz and Nathan Bastian on defense. Jonas Siegenthaler with Simon Nemetz. Kevin Ball with John Marino, Oilers draft pick. Luke Hughes with Colin Miller. Out for the Devils, Dougie Hamilton, IR, torn left pectoral muscle. Thomas Nosek, IR, right foot injury. All right, let's move along here. I think Catherine's ready to go. So let's bring on Catherine Bogart from NGA DTV. Oh my God. I blame Mark Ciampa for making those names complicated, Catherine. He's my old boss at Oilers TV. Couldn't just call it Devils TV, huh, Chomps?
NJD.TV all the way.
That's right. There you go. NJD.TV. All right. So you're down at the arena right now. We'll see you down there right after I wrap up the pregame show here. Give us the scoop on what Lindy Ruff had to say. Let's just start out with that. Around noon our time, because I just went through lineups from yesterday. I don't know if there's any changes. Maybe you can update us on that.
Lindy Ruff is a big fan of not updating anyone with lineups or starting goaltenders. It's very much an old school coach way. We've seen it for years, and that's what we live with. But when the players are on the ice for warm-ups, we will be seeing who's taking part of line rushes. The Devils have been pretty consistent with their lines, particularly that top line or the second line, depending on what you like to call it, of Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, and Andre Palat. They were impactful in Calgary yesterday. And Devils head coach Lindy Ruff has talked about today. They just need to get through this road trip playing the same way. Sorry for the loud horn there.
Oh, we know the horn.
The Devils, you know that horn. The Devils have been strong with their 5-on-5 play in this last stretch. That's something that's been fueling them. And Lindy Ruff said them getting those inside plays and positioning, that has been key. That was key last night against Calgary. That's what they want to do tonight against the Oilers. And they know it's a hard team that they're going up against. So Lindy Ruff just talking about some of the details that they're focusing on. And of course, saying that they're excited to have this last game on the road.
Yeah, no doubt. Home cooking will be nice to get back to New Jersey and all that stuff. Yesterday in Calgary, a 4-2 victory for the Devils. What were the keys, in your opinion, to that win at the Saddledome?
The Devils did not start strong. It was one of their worst first periods in the most recent games, and that was an area New Jersey struggled with at the start of the season. And Captain Nico Hischier said with Madison Square Garden Networks in the first intermission, we are not skating, we are not playing well, and we need to turn things around. They very quickly did. Hischier had a goal 4 minutes into the second period. He was impactful, and the Devils found their footing. They were able to control the game. They were able to find that inside lane. And actually, Jesper Bratt's goal was him standing in the right place, net front, and able to get a bounce hitting off of him to get a goal off of a failed Blake Coleman clear. So the Devils found their rhythm again. They found their speed in the second period. They did give up a shorthanded goal at the end of the first to a former Devil, Yegor Sharangovich, who got a great chip up pass from Blake Coleman. So two former Devils burning their former team, but the Devils were able to stay consistent in the second and third periods. They got some great saves by Vitek Vanacek, especially in that opening frame, and he's gaining a lot of confidence from that win last night. I don't think the Devils will go to him tonight. I don't know. We never hear the goaltender, but it would be rare for him to go to back-to-back, especially early games with travel.
The odd back-to-back afternoon games in Western Canada, you don't see that very often, especially on weekends out here. All right, this Devils team is cruising on this road trip. Edmonton cruising on its homestand. 3 straight wins in this Pacific Division road trip. 6 of their last 7. Catherine, just overall the keys and how this team has performed in this last stretch. I know you talked about yesterday the inside lanes and playing smart. I'm sure today simplifying will be something on the mind of the Devils. But this success that this team is having lately, how have they won these games? We talked about the Oilers and how they've won their games recently in different ways. How about New Jersey?
It's similar in the fact that it's always a different player. The Devils have a lot of depth with their forward group, and their defensemen can also get those shots through on net. So it isn't a lack of scoring, but the Devils are finding better defense, particularly 5-on-5. They've locked up some of those odd man rushes going against. The Devils are a team that are famous for those, and their opponents really brought it at the start of the year. New Jersey has simplified their game overall, and that's something we heard from Captain Nico Hischier and for Jesper Bratt after yesterday's game. They felt the second they said, okay, why are we pushing these passes? Why are we pushing these plays? Let's just take a step back and play the way we know how to. That's when things started to click for them, and that's always been a key. The Devils are a strong team on the road. They were last year. They are this season again, and that's because head coach Lindy Ruff has said they overcook stuff at home, and they get a little intimidated by the crowd at times, and it's too much for them at times. They are being a lot better with their home performance this season compared to last, but they still just need to keep it simple, especially because it is the second half of a back-to-back. You're going to be tired. This has felt like a much longer trip than 1 week, and New Jersey knows that if they're playing great with their defensive positioning and then they're able to use their speed to go up ice quickly and get an odd man rush, that's a great way to get some of these goals and get an early lead.
Catherine Bogart joining us from NJD.TV, live from the press box at Rogers Place. I saw Ryan walk behind you, making a cameo. So if you're listening on the TuneIn app or our audio stream, appreciate it. You can text us 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on our YouTube channel, you can hit us up via the Nasty Chat. Nasty Chat going strong as usual as people get excited for this Oilers-Devils matchup. Catherine, in your opinion, which players have led the charge? I know Hughes is great. I know that Hischier's a dominant presence on this Devils team. But who are some of the unsung heroes that are maybe complementing the better known names, if you will, to make this team go right now?
It would be ridiculous if you didn't say forward Tyler Toffoli. The guy gets traded to the Devils in the offseason. He's leading the team with 12 goals right now. He has been a perfect complement to Jack Hughes on their line, and they've had different players on it like Eric Holla, but Hughes and Toffoli are two skilled guys who know how to score and have those beautiful highlight reel goals. Toffoli feels really at home in New Jersey, and he said that coming into this group, they've welcomed him from the start. He feels very comfortable. His family feels comfortable in New Jersey, and I think that's a huge part of him being able to click so quickly from the start of the year. Toffoli stepped up when Hischier and Hughes were both out, and that was a really hard time for the Devils, but he has been a player that continues to bring it. He's third in points. He brings a really high level of leadership to the locker room as well. Even though the Devils are a young team, they still have some experience. Jack Hughes is entering his 5th season. Nico Hischier is 7th, but they're still way under 30. So Toffoli brings the ability to say, I was a young guy in a Stanley Cup winning locker room with the LA Kings. This is what it was like. how can I use that experience that I had and support these players who are pushing to get a Stanley Cup in the next 5 years? So it's a really good compliment. And another player who has stood out this season, forward Michael McLeod. Everyone up here knows him because of his brother, but
Yes.
Michael is second in faceoff wins in the NHL this season. This is not just a fluke either. McLeod has been working on his faceoff ever since he started in the NHL and knew that could be a path for him to have a big role on a team. When assistant coach Chris Taylor joined the Devils, he became the guy that McLeod went to, and Taylor has worked with him with everything, whether it's tweaking what to do against a certain player in a matchup or getting his own form down. Recently, I talked with forward Dawson Mercer about what makes McLeod so hard to go up against in practice, and he said, listen, you just can't even win against him sometimes. He's so quick, he is so sharp, and his stick is just always getting the puck before you can even blink. So McLeod has been a huge part of that. The Devils are one of the top team with faceoffs, and he's been leading the way and also taking away some of the responsibility from players like Hughes, who can then focus on getting that first pass and getting a shot. Instead, letting McLeod take that face-off, get the win, and the Devils' offensive threats can just get to work.
Hey, if you get a chance, tell Michael McLeod to help his brother out on faceoffs, because I'm looking at their faceoff stats, and Ryan's just under 49%, whereas Mikey is over 62. So if you don't mind, Catherine, I know these teams play again one more time in a couple of weeks, but you could pass that along on behalf of Oil Country, and I think that would be appreciated for sure. Okay, you mentioned that, Lindy Ruff, old school coach, absolutely. Didn't want to give away his lineups, his starting goalie. If we are going to see Akira Schmid today, what can we take away from this netminder, this young goaltender, and what can you tell us about his season so far?
Schmid's truly only in his second real taste of the NHL. He has played in parts of 3 seasons, but he's one of those goaltenders that's still getting the consistency factor. But when he is playing well, he has been lights out. In Seattle, some of the kids' day people.
Oh, I hear it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but with his most recent win in Seattle, he was outstanding. He was just making sure that he not only got all the saves he was expected to make, but also go extra. And the Devils' defense was very strong in front of him. They were limiting Seattle's shots outside, but Schmid has really shown a lot of calmness and confidence. That's one thing that you ask any of the other players or coaches about Schmid. They always say, the guy's super calm. It doesn't seem to faze him. And the biggest way you saw that was last year in the playoffs against the Rangers.
Right.
And Schmid came in and ended up helping the Devils win that series after going down 0-2 to start it and then having to win 2 at Madison Square Garden to get back into it. So Schmid is a really great goaltender, young goaltender. So is Vanacek. They're both really finding their way. And something that is to note, though, the Devils haven't liked how they've played in front of either goaltender, and that is definitely affecting some of the numbers as well, because when you look at last season's numbers compared to this year, a lot of people might think that's only on goaltending, but several Devils players and coaches have told us throughout the year, we don't like how we play in front of them. Sometimes we have been giving up too much, and the Devils goaltenders are just doing the best that they can with some of the defensive breakdowns they've had.
All right, Catherine Bogart from NJD TV. What kind of hockey game are you expecting today outside of what we're going to hear in the building, which sounds like a lot of screaming kids?
A lot of kids for Kids Day. I'm assuming that's what it is. But if you're a true hockey fan, I don't care what team you root for. This is going to be one of those matchups you want to tune in for. The Oilers are a team, as you have said, coming off 6 straight wins. They're really finding their success. And the Devils are another team. 6 of 7. They're really feeling that they're trending the right direction, but they still have some areas they want to clean up. As a result, 2 teams that are extra hungry to get those 2 points. The Devils' standings in the playoffs right now, it's all separated by 1, 2, 3 points. So every point for them on this road trip has been critical for them to get higher up in the standings. So that's some of the motivation that goes into it. And then it's just 2 really skilled hockey teams. I mean, you have Connor McDavid versus Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier on this side, Leon Draisaitl on the other. It's just so many great talents. And then you look at things like special teams. I know the Oilers' penalty kill has been very strong in their last 10 games, particularly only 1 power play goal against, I think, in the last 5. So you're going up against the top power play in the league. The Oilers' penalty kill is going to be zoned in, and the Devils' power play, they know how to score, and they have so much offensive talent. So I'm just excited to see all these little areas of the game, all these little matchups, and even just so much as a battle for a puck. It's going to be extra heated because both of these teams know how to bring it, especially on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I remember last year when the Devils were here, they spoiled the fun in Edmonton in 7 seconds. 7 seconds, Catherine. So we'll see if we see some fireworks like that again today. Great stuff.
I'm going to bring it up.
I was going to bring it up.
But I'll tell you, that was the quickest span of 2 goals for the Devils that season. Ryan Graves and Jesper Bratt. And the one thing I remember is there's a photo of them celebrating after Bratt's goal. And his face is of pure shock. Like, did we just do that? Did we not only tie the game, but now take the lead? And that was the most tense 5 minutes of my life. And it was such a thrilling end. So expect some fun tonight, too.
Yeah, I think there's 18,500 other people that had a shock face, too, when that second goal went in. Catherine, great stuff. And we'll catch up with you at the rink. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Tom.
Catherine Bogart from NJD.TV. Give her a follow. Excellent to have her on the program this morning or afternoon now that we roll along into what should be a good game, the 25th of the season for the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Devils, and they'll face each other again in New Jersey on the 21st. Like Catherine mentioned, 2 really quick teams with a lot of skill and a lot of offensive firepower, so we shall see how things play out. I like that. Yeah, YouTube Trev, a lot of kids. It's going to be loud in there. Good thing you're not going to be there inside the building today.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. So yeah, no, 100%. She crushed it. What great answers.
She's good.
She's really good. I like a lot what she had to say. Man, I remember that game though last year exactly. I'm pretty sure the Oilers were on a 5-game. I think they had a 5-game winning streak, and and then ultimately New Jersey scored those 2 goals to win. So it'll be interesting. Will they end the Oilers winning streak tonight? Or today, sorry. Time will tell. But it's going to be a good one. I like that a lot.
Via the nasty chat, Jenna says, nobody beats the Devils. Putty told me so. That's a Seinfeld reference for the younger crowd out there. And then some stranger says, does Michael want to play in Edmonton? Referencing Michael McLeod. I think he's happy in New Jersey, and he's got a good thing going there. But if the McLeod brothers ever reunited and played on the same team, hey, 3rd and 4th line guys, maybe Mikey can help Ryan with his faceoffs. No big deal. Let's see this one. Mick from Beaumont. I like this. Good to hear from Mick. Kucherov, 124 points. McDavid, 133. Mark it down, Tommy. Mick, on this December 10th, 2023, we're putting down Mick from Beaumont, 124 points for Kucherov, 133 for one Connor McDavid. I like that bold prediction. So that goes back to the question of the day, which is, with 21 points in his last 8 games, do you think Connor McDavid will take over the NHL scoring lead eventually this season? 13 back of Nikita Kucherov right now. He does have 4 games in hand as of today. And, of course, Mick saying 133 for Connor, 124 for Kucherov. So get those texts in, 780-218-9999, or via the nasty chat. Mainlander Tim says Edmonton wins if they keep it to 3 or less goals against. I like that. I like that mantra for sure. And they're going to have to get to Akira Schmid, who we are anticipating getting the start for the New Jersey Devils. A 23-year-old, 4-5-1, 303 goals against average, 902 save percentage in 11 games this year. He will face Edmonton for the first time in his career if he indeed gets the start. As for the Oilers, we're expecting it to be 25-year-old Stuart Skinner, 10-7-1 this year, 303 goals against average, just like Schmid. 887 save percentage with 1 shutout in 19 games. Lifetime versus the Devils. Stuart Skinner 0-2 with a 457 GAA, 873 save percentage in those 2 appearances against David Putty's favorite team, the New Jersey Devils. Jenna also chimes in 169 for Kucherov and 420 for McDavid. Oh, Jenna, if that's your real name. Hello, mate, to the host. Have you always been so fashionable? I get my, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I get my tips and tricks from Gene Principe. He's the best. He's the absolute best. So I try to bring it for our audience. That's for sure. That's part of being in this business. All right. Want to get to some audio and video? What do you think, YouTube, Trev?
Yeah, we can definitely do that for you. We can. Do you want to listen to the coach? We got Knobloch all ready for you.
Yeah, let's go to the coach's room and hear from Chris Knobloch heading into today's game.
Hockey player?
Hockey player and then police officer. I was told that my answer wasn't good enough. I need the new one. So
she's getting killed on this. She's welcome to our world now. It's the same answer. Everybody wants to be a hockey player.
Did you advise her to stay off Twitter?
I wonder if you could just touch on, we've seen some drills with the lines on the ice and the ice divided up. How are the players responding to that, or are you as a coach getting the progress you've been hoping for?
it has very little to do with our system play. It's just about feeling the puck, making plays under pressure, and having fun. It is a good way to get their heart rate up and get a little competition going. But it's mostly for them to enjoy it. And like I said before, it's mostly about feeling the puck touches and making plays under pressure. So that's the best way to do it. And there's many little games that we can do, and that's one they're familiar with, and probably one of the better ones that I enjoy.
You've kind of all along said, I'm tweaking. I haven't made huge overhauls. When you're on a win streak like this, does the tweaking really minimal, or is it much different than when you've won 2 in a row and lost one, and the record's a bit different?
No, we're always tweaking. We're always trying to get better. If we're not getting better, we're going to get past. Every team's working on things. Each team's getting better at something. And if we're just satisfied with the way we are right now, we're going to get past, and we're going to lose games and fall apart. I don't know. I think there's always things that we need to get better at, and we did some breakouts today about working on skills, kind of set plays that we can do. I think we have to always continue to be working on something.
You've had some good first periods. Even on the road trip, you had some leads I know you didn't hang on to, but what's your view? There's kind of two schools of thought. The players have to be prepared, they have to be ready to go, or the coach has to somehow establish a mindset that they start games well. How do you look at that, and why have you guys been quick in first periods?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think the guys are ready. They know what's at stake, and they cannot fall behind. And they're also feeling confident right now. So I think they're just ready to start the game off right.
Can you sense a difference in the room like now compared to when you first got here, just in terms of the confidence level or the volume or a vibe check?
Well, absolutely. Guys are talking on the bench. They're positive. They're engaging. It's easy when you're winning hockey games. It's so much easier. The pressure's off, and you start enjoying the game. Not only playing the game, but just coming to the rink and spending time in the dressing room and being with each other. It's a lot easier. Winning and scoring is you erase a lot of problems.
Yeah, it's kind of becomes a self-perpetuating thing, right?
Yeah, and it's just easier to play, and now you just always have to balance the being confident and not being complacent. And when things are going well, it's easy to relax and not be as hungry. But I don't see that right now. But when you do have success, it's just human nature to fall into that trap.
It's funny that confidence is a thing when you're talking about pro athletes who've been on the big stage their whole life and seen and done, almost everything there is to do in the game. But they do get a little.
Oh, absolutely. They're elite athletes who. It's a fine line between. One player to the next, and usually what separates them is just having that confidence to make plays and feeling that if they feel pressure and being able to read that and feeling that they have that little extra time, they'll make that play. But when they don't have that confidence, they feel under pressure and they feel like there's no room for them, and then they obviously don't play as well as they should.
Chris, I realize the focus is on your team, but New Jersey tomorrow, very different team than Minnesota. A lot of skill, 3 lines that can score up front. They're healthy at center again, and they got a great power play leading the league. Just a thought on what you're up against tomorrow.
A very good hockey team. Look at their lineup and their skill throughout it, especially on their forward lines. A lot of guys who can make plays and a very fast team. So one thing we want to make sure that we're doing is making plays, protecting the puck, and not giving away, feeding them their transition. But we also, really importantly, is that we're moving our feet and we're not standing still and just checking well that way.
It is the next generation game tomorrow. You kind of hinted that you wanted to either be a hockey player or a police officer. Why were maybe those two your choices when you were a kid?
I know I wanted to be a police officer. I'm not sure when it was. When they asked when I was 12, I'm not sure it happened at that moment, but I know certainly when I got a little bit older that happened. My sister's a RCMP officer, and my billet when I played in Edmonton is Edmonton Police member, and so I just I was around a lot, and just always thought that's what I was gonna do.
All right, there you go, Chris Knobloch. So it is Kids Day. What are they calling it? Future Generations Day? Is that
what they're saying? Yeah,
like that. Next generation.
Maybe. I can't confirm that. I don't know.
I can just go on their website and take a look at it. But yeah, that's good. Get the kids in there. Let them have some. It's the next gen game. That's what they're calling it. The next gen game. So we'll see a lot of kids in the stands. Future Oiler fans that the Oilers one day hope will become season seat holders. That's how you get them, Trev.
Yeah, they're getting them early.
You get them early, buddy. You get them early. Speaking of going down to the game, this one from Looney Len says, I got tickets for today's game. We sit right behind the penalty box. If a visitor ends up racking 2 points, we are to the right in the shot with the player. I'm going to hold up an EST sticker, see if we can get it some airtime. I'm assuming that's 2 penalty minutes, Len. So yes, that'd be great. Get that EST love on that broadcast. Although we have a good relationship with Sportsnet, but yes, let's get that AM nasty going, that EST love on the broadcast. That would be great. Scalding Gore texts in, says Yzerman and so many others never won a cup until they learned how to play both ways. Maybe McDavid wins the scoring title, but without a cup, it means nothing to me. Hockey is a team sport. If he wants individual trophies, then maybe he should go golfing full time. Not just every year when the Oilers get eliminated. Ooh, Scalding Gourd coming in hot, just like the Oilers and the Devils today. This one from John T. in Victoria says, really looking forward to the game now. Great guest. John T., thank you. Catherine Bogart from NJD.TV. Absolutely tremendous to have her on, and a great segment with her. All right, we're going to go and hear from Devils coach Lindy Ruff now. He spoke about an hour ago to the media. Let's hear from Ruff.
Lindy, let's start with your team. The Devils have really improved their play in the last stretch here. What's the biggest takeaway that you've seen that you want to see continue today?
Well, I think we've had some consistency with how the lines have been playing offensively. We're, scoring some timely goals, and inside plays in the offensive zone have been better, and our defending has been better.
What have you seen 5-on-5 that's also been better for this team, particularly with scoring?
Just inside opportunities have been going up, and we're getting rewarded for that.
And facing the Oilers, they're a team that's on a hot streak as well. They've been playing better as of late. What's the biggest targets that they have that you need to make sure you're locking down today?
I think everybody knows the biggest target, and McDavid is a handful. It's going to take really a consistent team effort to get above him and slow him down.
And their penalty kill has really been strong in the past, I would say, 10 games. What can your power play be mindful of, knowing that they're on a roll, only letting in one power play goal in their last 5 games?
Well, you get your 1 or 2 looks as taking advantage of it. And I think that our power play had a couple great looks last game and didn't. So if you get that opportunity, we've got to make sure we put in the back of the net.
End of a road trip, is there anything, a message that you have to give to a team, maybe looking to get home?
Well, I think when you look at the schedule and you're playing back to back and you're finishing off 4 and 6,
Okay, there's Lindy Ruff speaking to the media about an hour ago, and the Oilers did not hold an avail this morning. So you heard from Chris Knobloch during his presser yesterday. The Devils do have the number 1 ranked power play in the NHL at 34.1%, clicking on 28 opportunities or 28 times on 82 opportunities. The penalty kill, meanwhile, for New Jersey, not so great, 75.6% with 2 shorties. That's good for 25th. Edmonton's PK has been rock steady of late and has now gotten into the 17 slot in the NHL at 79.1% with 3 shorthanded goals chipped in. And then the Oilers power play also climbing back up the rankings in 4th as of today. 23 for 84. That's good for a 27.4% mark. And the Oilers have indeed killed off 34 of their last 38. And in the last 5 games, they've just allowed the 1 power play goal against on 15 opportunities for the opposition. 780-218-9999 if you want to text us, or via the nasty chat if you want to get at us. Penner's Pancakes texts in, says, "Hey, Tommy, I just rewatched the replay a couple of times. Kane is lucky he did not get suspended. If that happened to Connor, the pitchforks would be out in full force. Just my opinion. Should be a good 5-4 tilt this afternoon." Yeah, we watched it in the press box after the fact, after the Hartman roughing penalty. And on second watch, third, fourth watch, it was like, oof, not good, not good. And yes, Kane, a little bit lucky. But the other thing that came up in this conversation while we were watching that play is, why didn't Brodin, and it's not just Jonas Brodin, but in this instance it was, but why are guys not bracing themselves going back for pucks as defensemen? And listen, I'm not saying hockey back in the day was better. I'm just saying that there was more of an awareness for D-men or guys who were the first men back when they had a forechecker on them to anticipate contact and to brace themselves. So what happened in that instance, and I'm not defending Evander Kane, by the way, like that could have been a penalty, potentially a suspension, and we're going to see Brodin out for a while. But back in the day in that situation, instead of what Brodin did, where he went in face to the glass and made the play on his backhand, it's good that he made the play, but he left himself totally vulnerable. Back in the day, or I don't know, maybe rarely now, you're the first guy back there. If you know you got a guy on you and there's heat coming, and usually you know who it is, Evander Kane, hard to miss. You brace for the impact, maybe eat the puck, and then have a battle, and then wait for support. That didn't happen there. And instead, Brodin gets absolutely drilled. He's hurt long term. The Wild are pissed off. They take a dumb penalty. Officiating, you can say what you want about the officials the other night. The Wild did get a pretty, let's call it easy call when Hyman took the tripping penalty. So a bit of a makeup call for sure. But it doesn't make up for losing an important defenseman. Anyway, the point is, I'm saying, why not brace yourself? Who's teaching these guys to not brace themselves, especially if you have a guy who is physical, like Evander Kane coming down on you? That's something. It's just a bigger conversation. But yes, Penner's Pancakes, I agree. Kind of lucky that Kane did not get suspended. And the more I watched it, the worse it looked. And then you want to talk about suspension. David Perron in his play yesterday. Who did he get? Artem Zub with the cross check to the head. And Dylan Larkin, I watched that replay a few times. I don't know. Did he just get crumpled or like what happened? So you will see a suspension for David Perron cross-checking Artem Zub, I believe it was, in the head. Did you catch that play, Trev, yesterday?
Yeah, I didn't see anything with Dylan Larkin, but I did see the cross-check from David Perron, and not good. Not a good look at all. I was just looking up. I'm pretty sure. I don't ever remember. I can't see him. I don't think he's been suspended before. I don't think he's a repeat offender. So, yeah, I can't remember. I was just trying to find it.
Feisty.
So he is feisty. Yeah, he does got some bite to him, but
yep.
Man, it was very surprising. I don't know why that's the play. Like, drop your gloves. Like, never, if you want to go at a guy, drop the gloves, have a fight. That's it. You don't
And he got
go
the
at a
wrong guy too.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that. So then, like, what are you doing? It's not a good look. He'll probably I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a few games for sure.
Yeah.
It's very scary. You don't need that. Not at all.
No, absolutely. What are your thoughts? 780-218-9999 or via the nasty chat. We're going to go back into the Oilers locker room. I want to read a few here. One says, it's from Jerry. Jerry says, McDavid doesn't turn his back at the last moment, so it won't happen. DEL or Dell, now defensemen expect not to be hit by turning their backs. It isn't as physical a game, absolutely, Dell, but damn. He put himself into a bad spot. And Kane finished his check. Now Brodin's hurt. Some stranger chimes in, says Brodin did a shoulder check and saw Kane coming, yet still turned his back. Why? Great question, some stranger. I'm with you. Calvin says, I read that Brodin did shoulder check and still kept himself in a vulnerable position, so no suspension for Kane. And then Dell adds that Kane does have a bit of a history. Yes, absolutely. Zedmo misses David Perron. David Perron, really good guy. He really enjoyed his time here with the Oilers. A quick story. We were on the flight back from a road trip when it was rumored that Perron would be traded. And he came up to the media section on the plane and was asking what we were hearing around the league. And we're like, yeah, man, sounds like you're probably getting traded. We're sorry. Like, we like talking to him. He was one of those guys, very chatty, a student of the game, if you will, a fan of the game, followed it, kept tabs on everything. Always great to catch up with and get some insight from. And he's like, oh, man, I don't want to be traded. Like, he flat out just said, I don't want to be traded. And he was like sad. And then 3 or 4 days later, he was shipped off to the Penguins for Rob Klinkhammer. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that trade. Yeah, I was a huge Perron fan. It was Magnus Piarvi is who they traded to get him, I'm pretty sure. Yep. And yeah, one of his best seasons, still to this day, 28 goals in the 2013-14 season as an Oiler. He was, just everywhere he's gone. That's what I like about David Perron. He's very versatile, whether it was the Blues, whatever time, the second or third time that he joined the Blues. Right. Detroit, obviously, had a great year in Vegas, but wherever he goes, you put him in the lineup, he can be your top line guy. He can be in the bottom six, very versatile. I love David Perron. And he does have that edge to him, right? Like he can bring it, but he overstepped last night. But yeah, Perron, that's nice to know. I like that he enjoyed his time in Edmonton.
Yeah, he definitely did. And it was a bad time for the Oilers, obviously. Player that I think that all 32 teams wouldn't mind having on the roster. He's kind of like their Sam Gagner in St. Louis, right? He goes away, they trade him, he comes back.
Exactly.
They let him go, he comes back. What did he have? 3 stints in St. Louis? Something
3
like
stints.
That. So, just like Sam. So first rounder as well. I believe he was like an 08, whereas Sam was 07, if I'm remembering correctly. And he kind of surprised by making the team out of camp that year. And good guy, and stupid play by him last night with the cross check, and he'll obviously be suspended for that. So if we see it, we'll pass it along your way to let you know what's going on. Okay, let's go into the Oilers locker room one more time before we get to Matty Kassian with game changers. And we talked about Evander Kane and not getting suspended, and that hit on Brodin that's going to knock Brodin out for some time. We obviously talked about Brodin and putting himself into a bad spot with a aggressive and physical player like Kane bearing down on him. But let's hear from Evander Kane, who's putting together a pretty solid season thus far.
The whole sequence early in the third, the hit you delivered, the response, how that played out for you?
Made a hit. Then got punched in the face, and then had a skate dragged over my face on purpose.
Was that hard?
And then got up. I believe so, yeah.
So when you're forechecking, you're a forechecker. Come in hard, you got to hit guys. That's the deal. is a hit like that inevitable at some point? Is it the way defensemen play today? Are you always going to be careful that you don't drill a guy in the numbers?
Well, I don't think I drilled him in the numbers. I think I kind of hit him on the side, but if I don't know how other people or other players play the game. I know if that's me going back, I'm going to be a little bit more aware and brace myself. At the same time, it's unfortunate he got hurt. That's definitely not the intent. But yeah, it was a chipped-in puck. Finish a check. Unfortunately, got hurt.
So you guys are like 6-0 on this good run. You hear people talking about confidence and everything. Is there a different vibe now when you guys skate on the ice? Different mindset?
I mean, yeah, it's. I don't know if it's a different mindset. I think we're just playing differently, to a degree. We couldn't have started worse than we did, and we're slowly digging ourselves out of a hole here. And we understood that we needed to put a bunch of games together in order to give ourselves a shot here and climb back into the standings. So we've done that, and we're going to continue to have to do that if we want to be in the playoffs.
So there was nobody that was going to get you guys out of that. It had to be yourselves. Was it almost like a conscious decision, or did something go right that kind of turned things in the direction?
I think we obviously, everybody started playing better. And it wasn't necessarily a lot better, just a little bit better. We were eliminating the big individual mistakes that were costing us in the early part of the season. And for us, I think it's just continuing to do those things that gives ourselves
experience pulling out of these tailspins. Last year it was when Ekholm got here at the trade deadline. The year before that it was when Woody got here. How helpful is that experience to know that when it seems like the house is burning down, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to go through tough stretches throughout the course of a season. No season's perfect. It obviously is really highlighted and probably stings a little more than it normally would when it happens right from the beginning of the season when you get off to such a poor start. So that was definitely a new experience right now with a lot of guys. And I think we're a team when our backs are against the wall. We rise to the occasion, and so far we've done a good job of making up for some of that lost ground, but we still got a long ways to go.
So just a little bit on the heels of what Reed said. So it's the next generation game tomorrow. You're a dad with kids. What do you think of the game? And when you were a kid, was it to be a hockey player, or did you have some other aspirations or goals maybe in life?
No, I always wanted to be a hockey player. That was my goal from 3 years old to now, and I think it's great to be able to integrate kids tomorrow afternoon, and having kids of my own, obviously, and two boys. My daughter's actually a big fan of getting on the ice too, so they'll all be at the game, and I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. And to have a lot of my family tomorrow night, the afternoon games work out well for bedtime, so it makes it fun to be able to bring the kids to the rink.
All right, there's Evander Kane talking about the hit on Jonas Brodin, and then Ryan Hartman subsequently going after him. I didn't see the skate incident that he was talking about, but I guess it happened. So interesting to see some comments or hear some comments from Evander Kane on that play. All right, let's bring in Matt Kassian, our game analyst, as we get set for the Oilers and the Devils. Of course, text us 780-218-9999. Cass has to take care of business. TCB, and then via the nasty chat if you want to get a word in. Good afternoon, Matt Kassian. What was going on there with Daddy Daycare? What's going on? Are you doing all right? You're muted. Can't hear you. Oh, fix the mic. There we go. All right, let me get into some text until Matt gets back here. Do we got you?
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. There you are.
Yeah, I did. The old unplug it, plug it back in because I wasn't on mute. I'm like, no, I wasn't on mute. No, I was just making sure in case my wife tunes in again, she won't yell at me for having the closet door open.
Right.
One of the kids opening it. So I was just like, better go get that taken care of because I will definitely hear about it later if I do not. So yeah, a little daddy daycare for a little bit. We had a little Christmas production this morning for the girls, so
Nice.
they had that. They were pretty fired up. So Dad got them some flowers as a little thing afterwards, just as a reward for doing so good. And yeah, now it's going to be time to go check out a little bit of hockey.
Excellent. Okay, so we were talking before Evander Kane's presser from yesterday and him kind of discussing that hit on Brodin. We're talking about how it seems like some defensemen now, or maybe it is more common and prevalent now, to not defend themselves as much. What's your take on that hit, having a couple days to digest it, and the lack of discipline, rightly or wrongly so, in your opinion?
Yeah, I don't think it was a suspendable hit. Like, if you watch it, he doesn't leave his feet. He doesn't jump. He like, as a player going in as a defenseman, and that's a tough play to make. You have to know that you're going to get hit there.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know. And I love Brodin as a person and as a player. I think he's at times vastly underrated defenseman. And had him around a little bit as his rookie season in Minnesota. And even as now he's a veteran guy that's been around the league for a while. Yep. You have to know that you could be getting finished there, and you have to protect yourself. And that's, for a lot of D-men, that means putting yourself flat against the wall, because that's not like a Kane didn't absolutely bury him from behind. Like, that wasn't like it wasn't like you're 3 feet from the board making contact, straight in the numbers. Like, right. He plays like that happen frequently. Wingers get hit like that all the time. If they have a tough puck up the wall, those rims that we love to talk about, sometimes they'll get finished like that. And the trick is, if you press yourself right against the glass ends up absorbing most of it. It doesn't really do anything, just from a physics standpoint, but you have to know you're going to get hit. Now I understand why the NHL is issuing a warning, probably because it's Evander Kane. If that's like, I don't know, if that's Connor Brown, no one's going to say boo. Like, right. No one's going to say anything. But because it's Evander Kane, they're going to just say something. But I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it is unfortunate that he's hurt off of the play. I never like seeing guys hurt, but it wasn't, I don't know. I didn't think it was like that horrible, awful, terrible of a hit. And he does it in a way where it's like he finishes them, but he doesn't bury him, and it's not a free hit. Like, it's up against the glass, and he finishes it through the glass, which, you do have a responsibility as a player to protect yourself. And I don't know if Brodin does enough in that situation.
No, definitely didn't. Calgary Glenn Texan says, I don't like the Kane hit either, but in this instance, Brodin chose to make the backhanded pass and leaving himself exposed. Instead, he could have continued to skate around the net with the puck and make a different play. I didn't like the finish, the making the play on the backhand. I thought that left him totally vulnerable. All right, Cass, let's get into Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out on DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cass, as we get set to watch two teams playing some damn good hockey and getting the results of late, number one for you is respect inside the dots.
You really have to respect the New Jersey Devils, their ability to score goals from inside the dots and their speed inside the dots. This is a team that offensively, they love to play up tempo. It's a fun one, I think, heading into it, because they have a little bit of a similar style to the Edmonton Oilers. Now, Jack Hughes, he's not Connor McDavid. Mm-hmm. But he's pretty stinking good. His right-hand man right now, Jesper Bratt, has been playing some really, really fantastic hockey on the year as well. And as a whole, that New Jersey Devil group, I mean, you look at some of the additions like a Timo Meier as well, you have quite a bit of depth. You have lots and lots and lots of speed. Now the Devils got off to, as you probably already talked about, a little bit of a slower start. Yep. This season than they would have liked, but they have been slowly picking up steam and starting to roll here. And when they're rolling, they are fast. They are a fast team, and that really means for the Edmonton Oilers, you need to do a very good job of protecting the middle of the ice, pushing the puck to the outside. Your defensemen not getting caught outside the dots on rush chances against. Now, obviously, if you have a chance to make a play, you got to make a play. You have to know and find these spots where you're able to do that. But as a whole, you don't want to get sucked outside those dots against a team that has a ton of speed, because the second that you do, you're opening up the middle of the ice, and that speed that they have through the middle, the New Jersey Devils, can absolutely crush you. It can absolutely crush you. So hugely important for Edmonton and their defense in particular. Play inside the dots, push everything to the outside, and don't let the New Jersey Devils attack you with as much speed as they like to. You know, try to slow them down where you can.
They do have a lot of speed. They did get out to a 7-3-1 start, and then they lost 6 of 7.
Sorry, that's what it was. Good
but,
start, then they struggled. Then
and they ended up 8-9-1, and then they rattled off 6 of their last 7, picking up wins to go 14-10-1. So it's been like a roller coaster ride, essentially, Cass. And you're right in describing that. So for those wondering if it's been just an immaculate season for New Jersey, no, has not been. But the highs haven't been as high, and the lows were nowhere near the depths that the Oilers found a way to fall to earlier this season, for sure. All right, it is Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian. Number 1 was respect inside the dots. Number 2, Skinner's saves.
Yep, gonna have to make some saves. I mean, you are playing against a team that has one of the best offensive players in the world. Certainly he's on the rise in Jack Hughes. He's a guy that I think as time moves on here, he's going to be in that conversation in the top 5 more and more often in terms of players that have offensive ability. I mean, the guy can score goals, and the guy can fly, and he can make plays, and he's just absolutely dangerous. And again, they have some other players that have some good finish as well. This is an offensive team that likes to play offense, and against those teams, even if you're keeping them to the outside, there's going to be moments, typically, that New Jersey is going to have some chances to score. And Stuart Skinner looks like he's going to be starting again here, and he is going to have to make some saves. This is going to be one of those games where the difference between winning and losing could be that one save that you're not supposed to make, that you find a way to make in a grade A chance against. So I think a big night for Stuart Skinner, another big test for this Edmonton team that is just kept rolling and kept finding ways to win, even in a game against Minnesota that wasn't a perfect game by any means.
No,
they still find a way to win with leaning on their power play, and another opportunity tonight to keep this thing rolling against a team that is probably going to challenge you more in your own zone. So Stuart Skinner is going to be a big part of that, both on the penalty kill and 5-on-5. He's probably going to have to come up with that one extra save that could be the difference between winning and losing this one.
Skinner, 17 saves the other night on 20 shots against. At one point, it was 3 goals on 10 shots, and people were going, geez, that was not good enough. And they're looking at the 750 average after 2 periods. And then I thought he had a clutch third period, Cass. I thought he made some great saves in that final frame, and timely ones at that. So I didn't have as many qualms as some did about Stuart Skinner the other night. But, overall, there have been moments, especially early in the season, where he wasn't making that save. But I think now more so, he is starting to be timely and clutch. And that last second save the other night, I think, is a perfect example of his game kind of finding its form. But you're right. He's going to have to be good in this one this afternoon. How are you seeing it, or is there anything there that you think?
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, that save, there should have been a penalty called right before that one. I know I didn't do post game. My voice was just my voice was going hard. But that huge last second save on the one timer. I mean, that I don't want to say it saves the game, but it saves you from at least giving Minnesota a point.
Yeah.
Right. Like they don't get a point because of it. So he comes up with a clutch save, and he wasn't great in the first 2 periods, but lo and behold, he makes some more saves in the third, get that save percentage back up there a little bit. And he comes up with a timely save that closes out the game. So, I think, I'm still of the opinion that earlier in the season, he was just hung out to dry.
Yeah.
And even if you listen to that Evander Kane interview that you guys just played, talking about eliminating some of those big mistakes. Those big mistakes were a lot of the reasons that the goals were going in, not Stuart Skinner. And I know there's people that disagree and will want to fist fight me or consider fist fighting me because of my opinion on that. But I just still don't think it was a Stuart Skinner issue or a goaltending issue. It wasn't even a Jack Campbell issue when he was in net. I think it was just a team not supporting them issue. Now, could they have been better? As I said, frequently the goaltending, absolutely. But I do feel Skinner has just been rock solid recently. So if he lets in a couple and maybe is a little bit shaky for one game against Minnesota, you give him that. Like you're not going to be at your playing 10 out of 10 every single night. Was he probably like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10 against Minnesota? Probably, but a good chunk of that came in the third period when you really needed it. And again, your power play ends up being able to win you a game, which is something that didn't happen earlier in the year. So he'll be tested again today. I've still liked his game. I really liked it recently. He's just been rock solid. And as I said, and you said, he's going to have to be rock solid again tonight.
A couple of texts via the nasty chat. Dell says Oilers will outscore their goaltending problems. And then a couple of people talking about Vinny Desharnais, because we had Catherine Bogart on here earlier from NJD.TV, and she talked about the speed that the Devils possess. We know that. We saw them strike so quickly against the Oilers twice in 7 seconds here in Edmonton last year to stun the crowd. And then they beat them again in New Jersey. The Oilers will be in New Jersey in a couple weeks as well. But there's some text coming in. Some stranger says, I worry about Vinny today. Penner's Pancake says Vinny might get exposed a bit. And Calvin says, I'll be good if Vinny just stays in front of the net. Cass, where do you come out on Desharnais in this game? Because some stranger also chimed in with give Gleason a look in this one.
Yeah. I think that's a valid concern against a team with this much speed. I probably would consider having Gleason step in there, and that's not to hammer on or knock Vinny Desharnais. It's just a skill set, right? It's just a skill set. He's not the most fleet of foot guy. We have seen him got beat with some of the speed, and I know you're home ice, so you get last change. Would Vinny Desharnais have trouble against the speed of a Hughes? Yeah, probably. There's a lot of defensemen that skate very well that have trouble with the speed of a Hughes, and so it's going to be a challenge for him tonight. I mean, for all the D-men, having that gap, and again, making sure you're not getting caught outside the dot, so you have time to recover back, is going to be so huge. But if you're going to put Gleason in and try to get him in one, this might be the one to do it. Now, I just because they've continued to win, I don't think Knobloch's going to change the lineup. We'll see, I guess, after warmups. But that certainly for me would be something to consider, to say, just based on how New Jersey plays the game, having a little bit more mobility in that third pairing might be beneficial. And again, that's not me knocking Vinny. That's not saying he shouldn't be in the lineup every night. That's not saying he's bad. But New Jersey is just a team that attacks with a lot of speed, which that's not his strength. And that's okay that it's not his strength. But, something certainly I think is a fair question to ask, or would be, depending on how the game goes and who plays, of Knobloch.
Cass, we do have some updates from warm-up as we're, going through number 2 and then talking about Vinny Desharnais there. Catherine Bogart, who was on the show earlier, says Eric Halla is not on the ice for warm-up. So that's a note for the Devils. Halla was supposed to be on the Devils' top line with Jack Hughes and Tyler Toffoli. At least he was yesterday afternoon. Akira Schmid does get the start for the New Jersey Devils, but it's going to be Calvin Pickard this afternoon for the Oilers, according to Jack Michaels. The 31-year-old this year, 0-1 record, 294 goals against average, 891 save percentage in the 2 appearances he's had as an Oiler. Lifetime Cass versus the Devils. Pickard's played them 3 times. He's 2-0 with the 90.96 GAA, 964 save percentage with 1 shutout. What do you make of that decision?
Yeah, it's a little bit of an interesting one. I guess you're looking at it here from Knobloch's standpoint and saying you're getting a team in a back-to-back. Now, it's not a lot of travel, playing in Calgary than playing here, but a little bit of a unique situation for New Jersey in that you have 2 afternoon games. Like, you're playing an afternoon game and then you're playing another afternoon game. So back-to-back with travel, you don't have the extra time in the afternoon to get that nap in. You get to town early, like you're getting into bed at a good time because you're not flying at 10 o'clock at night post game. But that's a little bit of an interesting one. I would have thought you went back to Skinner and probably looked to have Pickard start against the Chicago Blackhawks, but
right.
Hey, maybe they're looking at Stuart Skinner's game against Minnesota and saying, well, maybe, I know there was a 5-day break, but maybe we just want to give his legs a little bit of a break here and give Pickard a shot. So yeah, it's an interesting one for me. Now probably maybe it was scheduled. I don't know. That surprises me a little bit, Tommy. That surprises me. But let's flip that. Then I guess we got to take number 2 and say, I mean, it basically the exact same thing for Pickard here, where he's going to have to be the guy that is probably going to have to make the one extra save. So next man up, I guess, in that regard. I would have certainly thought that Skinner was going to start this one and Pickard against Chicago, but hey, here we are. And he's going to have to be real good.
Okay, it is game changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian. Number 1 was respect inside the dots. Number 2, Pickard saves, because Calvin Pickard is getting the nod this afternoon against the Devils. Number 3, Cass, the 500 hurdle. I like this one. Look at where we're at now, hey?
This is where we're at now. This is where we're at. I mean, it's like a mentality thing to still be sub 500, but to have an opportunity here to get back to 500. Now, you have to win a game against a good team, very good team. You have to continue to keep this win streak going, but you can claw back to that 500 today. You do get a little bit of help from the Devils in their game yesterday, and just an opportunity to make up 2 more points in the Calgary Flames and to claw back to that 500 number. I mean, it's, we've talked frequently about how each next game has been the most important game of the season. And here we are again, that opportunity to get to 500, to just keep clawing your way back after that atrocious start you had to the season, and to continue to threaten that wild card status, to claw an inch closer here, Tommy. It's like, again, the next game is always the biggest game right now, still for the squad, until they find themselves in that solidified playoff position. And it just, again, huge emotional game here. I think mentally to be able to claw back to that 500 mark is so huge. Just internally, how you feel about yourself. Now, not that I think they've been sitting there, moaning and whimpering and going, woe is me. They've gone about their business the last couple of weeks, and they've found ways to win, and they've just put on the work boots in a lot of instances and hard hats and just gone to do it. You have to again today, and I'm just excited to see if they can bring that same playoff atmosphere, stepping into a game where you have a chance to get back to 500, which is fantastic.
That is Game Changers with Matty Kassian. Number 1, respect inside the dots. Number 2, Pickard saves, because he's getting the start today. And then number 3, the 500 hurdle. I want to read these texts to you, Cass, because I think that this is right up your alley. I'm going to start it with this one from Coach Mike. Says, 7-game heater, let's go. Devils 4th game in 6 days. And on a back-to-back, Oilers have to get on them early. And then later on, Coach Mike says, hey, more boarding shenanigans. We were talking about the Kane and Brodin situation. Coach Mike follows up with, Nick Cousins should have gotten a 5-minute major this afternoon for boarding Eric Goodbranson. It was reduced to a 2-minute minor. Goodbranson went after Cousins and suckered Cousins later in the game. Florida had a 7-minute power play after that. And then, Cass, the scoreboard went out with 52 seconds left in the game. Florida won it 5-2 over Columbus. But I don't know if you had a chance to see some of the clips, but it was just pure madness on the ice in Columbus today, highlighted by the scoreboard going out. They had to wait for it to reboot or whatever to get it back online before they finished that game. Did you see it? If so, what did you make of all the shenanigans and stuff that was going on?
I didn't get a chance to because of the kids' Christmas production, but I'll have to go check it out. Now the boarding, having a play, that's one of the things with the majors and the reviews where you have a chance to reduce it, make it not a major. So I haven't seen it yet, so I can't comment specifically on that. But there are players, and to go to Evander Kane, you want guys to finish their hits. And I think Kane in that one, he let up enough, planted his feet enough, didn't drive through, wasn't trying to bury him, was just trying to finish, that I think is a good thing. So I'll have to watch that play. But Tommy, I do love me some shenanigans sometimes, as do a lot of people. Just that a little bit extra emotion that can happen in the game. And then, if the clock goes out, it's like it's punctuated, and it's just like, of course that happens in this one. So no, I'll have to go check it out, because certainly worth watching the highlights on that one.
Ryan Whitney tweeted out the video. I'm watching it right now, and Nick Cousins does drill Goodbranson. And it isn't Kane Brodin necessarily. There are some similarities where Goodbranson is facing the boards. Cousins does drill him like shoulder to shoulder, but he is in such a vulnerable spot. Goodbranson goes down, and then Cassie gets up like the Undertaker and just starts pummeling on Cousins. And then later in the game, he did go after Cousins. So it bad. It was bad. And then the lights went, or not the lights went out, but the scoreboard malfunctioned and they had to delay the game. They finally finished it. So some craziness this afternoon in the NHL already. One of 8 games on the schedule. The Oilers are the second matinee, and then things get going later on in Chicago, where Washington will be there. Montreal hosts Nashville. The Rangers get the LA Kings, and then Anaheim welcomes Winnipeg to town. The late one tonight, or a couple of late ones. Seattle hosts Minnesota, and then the Golden Knights get the San Jose Sharks. So interesting Sunday in the National Hockey League for sure. Cass, fantastic stuff as always, my friend. Enjoy the game, and I look forward to catching up with you following the Oilers and the Devils.
Absolutely, buddy. I look forward to it too.
That is our game analyst, Matt Kassian, with Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Check him out if you're looking to get into the market or you're looking to sell. Damon, awesome guy, and can't say enough good things about him. And we really, really appreciate his support and being a proud partner here of the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show, as well as Edmonton Sports Talk. Dave Pagnotta, who you can hear and see on Hello Hockey with myself and Sean Bell and YouTube Trev on Saturday, says 29 penalty minutes for Goodbranson for jumping Cousins. Not Griffin Reinhart. His brother Sam had 4 assists and now is tied for 4th in the NHL in points with McKinnon, Panarin, and Pettersson. And then that leads us to the question of the day, also talking about the point totals and the guys who sit atop the leaderboard. So with 21 points in his last 8 games, do you think Connor McDavid will take over the NHL scoring lead eventually this season? He is 13 points back of Nikita Kucherov and has 4 games in hand as of Sunday. So let us know your thoughts, 780-218-9999 or via the nasty chat. Trev, did you see that play? Did you see the Columbus, Florida stuff?
Yeah, I was just watching it right now.
What do you think?
Pretty dirty. Oh, that was the Cousins hit. I think that's way worse than what Kane did. The thing about like Kane's hit is it wasn't necessarily head first that Brodin went in. He kind of just flattened him to the boards, but it was hard, right? It was a hard, heavy hit. So I didn't think it was. I don't know. I'm kind of siding with Cass on that one, but this one it was head first. Like Cousins got him right in the boards there, right in the numbers. Not a good look. And Goodbranson was down, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have it." And then I just watched the clip as well. They were skating down the ice. He's like, "No, you like, yeah, I don't know. That's crazy." Goodbranson's a tough customer, so you don't really want to be in his bad books. That was a pretty dirty play. I would not be surprised if Cousins gets one game or something like that, a hearing at least.
Feisty
yeah,
on a
feisty.
Sunday.
Yeah, very feisty.
All right. Your goalies for today will be Calvin Pickard for the Oilers and Akira Schmid for the New Jersey Devils. Matt via the nasty chat says it would be nice if the NHL would show the shenanigans, but the highlight packs don't show them. They always take them out. Yes, Matt, when I worked for Oilers TV, obviously that was for the team directly. I remember it was a preseason game and I did a post-game recap. And I think Evan Poli, who was with the Oilers at the time, had a fight, and I wanted to show it. It was a good fight, and Evan Poli, nice guy, and good to see him continuing to play in the AHL. It was like buried about a minute and a half into the post game wrap up, and it was for like 5 or 6 seconds. And someone from the league emailed me, because the league handled publishing the videos on our website and to YouTube and stuff like that. And the league said, "Hey, Tom, great post-game recap, but there's a clip of a fight at the 1 minute and 25 second mark. Would you be able to replace it with something that's not a fight? And then we can publish it. Thanks." And I was just like, oh my God. Out of spite, I didn't want to do it. But my boss, Mark Ciampa from the New Jersey Devils now. Said I had to. So yes, Matt, the NHL deliberately does that. It is 100% something that they made a priority. So dirty stuff, fights, sometimes hits, especially dirty ones, they do not allow that stuff to be put into the highlight packages at all. And it's kind of a pain in the butt. No Eric Holla as well for the New Jersey Devils today in this game. He was on the Devils top line yesterday afternoon in that 4-2 win in Calgary for New Jersey. Haven't seen anything in regard to lineup changes for the Oilers outside of Calvin Pickard getting the start. Yeah, I think that's probably likely going with the same lineup. If you see something, let us know. Trev and I are keeping tabs on it, but looks like same lineup outside of Pickard getting the nod for the Oil. We do have some more audio and video to show you. We could go into the Oilers locker room one more time. You want to do that, Trev? You want to go to Brett Kulak?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
All right, let's go to Brett Kulak here.
The 6-game win streak, the team's defensive play has improved significantly. What would you most attribute to the turnaround you guys have seen in that department?
Yeah, I don't know. I think everyone's just doing whatever it takes to be at their best individually and do what they can to contribute to the team's success. So I think from a defensive standpoint, it's just simplifying things and moving pucks up quick. And I think we're generating more offense, so we're playing with the puck more and spending less time in our zone.
When you have one of the best offensive defensemen in NHL history behind the bench and in your ear all the time, what does that do for you guys as a group?
Yeah, it's good. It's been fun since he's got back there. He's just really encouraging for us, and he just he wants us to push ourselves and reach our potential that we all have, and always kind of demanding more out of ourselves, never being satisfied with our game. And yeah, we're having fun back there.
How much do guys kind of go out of their way to go pick his brain a little bit and ask him questions?
Yeah, I think so, and yeah, more so than that, Koff is he's a good communicator, and he's kind of preached that also to us within our pairs and that. So just talking lots and going back and forth with everything. And like you say, he's got obviously tons of experience and had success, and he sees the game in a certain way, so it's been helpful.
I wonder if your family, like your parents, thought it was even more cool than the players to have Paul Coffey as a coach, just because they maybe watched him growing up. Yeah. You guys would be aware of him, but they would have, oh my gosh, Paul Coffey's now your coach.
Yeah, they talk about it a little bit for sure, and it's pretty cool. It's not too often you got a guy like him back there, so we're taking advantage of it, and we're enjoying having him on the bench with us.
They ask you to get anything signed yet?
No requests yet.
When a defense or a team or a goalie or whatever gets a couple of good games together, does it make the next game a little bit easier when some of that pressure's off, some of that confidence is a little higher than it was before?
Yeah, I don't know. It's felt like our hunger and intensity has grown. We're getting that winning taste and what it takes, and when you start playing at that level, it's way more fun than if you're coming in, you're not quite at the peak of your game. It's not as fun. So I think everyone's kind of finding their game a little more individually, and we're having fun and we're playing well.
You guys have turned things around on a dime before, like you did it last year, down the stretch. Does that in the back of your heads, you always had that, might not be today, we're going to be able to turn this?
Yeah, I think that's what was impressive with our group is no one ever threw in the towel and said, oh, this is the write-off. We know we're an elite team and one of the best in the league, and it was just a matter of time, I think, for us to find our game and get playing there. And we're not perfect. We got things to improve, but we're well on our way.
It looks kind of showed last year that it's sustainable. It's not just a hot streak. You guys can do this for 20, 25, 30 games in a row.
Yeah, exactly. Once we get rolling, get playing good, and now it's just building the game and maintaining that consistent level.
It's the next generation game tomorrow, so kind of kids' day, but some of the kids have some different roles, as you've seen. When you were a kid, is it suffice to say you want to be a hockey player? But if you did, was there anything else that maybe you found interesting when you were a kid?
Yeah, for me, it was always hockey on my mind, and so that's what it's been my whole life so far. So we'll see post-career, the next chapter, I'll have to start thinking about something else, but for my whole life to date, it's all been hockey. Yeah.
There you go, Brett Kulak there, pretty consistent all season long, talking about the consistency of the team. The Oilers seeking a 7th straight victory as they take on a Devils club that has won 3 in a row and 6 of its last 7. The Devils, just to throw some stats at you before we go into this one and wrap things up. New Jersey's been pretty good. The Oilers and Devils will meet again later this month on the 21st in Jersey, and the Devils are wrapping up a 4-game Pacific Division road trip. They're 3-0, obviously, on this trip so far. 9-4 the Devils are on the road this season. Edmonton has a 16-12-2 record with 5 ties all-time at home against New Jersey. The Oilers have also won 5 of the last 7 home games against the Devils. And New Jersey right now, 3-1 versus Pacific Division teams this season. Let's get to some text to wrap things up. Displaced Yukoner. There's a name we haven't heard in a while, probably since June in the old 1260 days. I see Displaced Yukoner has found and discovered us here at EST. It took him 3 months, but good to have Displaced Yukoner back. Says 97 wins the scoring title. First time listening on the live feed, not the last. Displaced Yukoner. Also checking out our YouTube channel. So good to have you back, pal. And you'll notice a lot of familiar faces and shows and a lot of the good stuff. I think we've even enhanced some of them. And you'll also get to meet YouTube Trev. Say hi to Displaced Yukoner, YouTube Trev.
Displaced Yukoner? Oh, that's going to take a while to learn that one.
I know.
Yeah. How's it going, man? Thanks for joining the chat. Thanks for chiming in. Yeah, this is what the boys have been up to, and we love it. We're having a lot of fun with it. So, yeah, this is awesome.
Yes, we are. Big Uke chimes in. Good afternoon, Big Uke. Big Uke says, got to play with speed today. Keep the feet moving. Get to pucks. Going to be a high event game. Matt says, also the Austin Watson shooting it at a player in the last few seconds. Fine. In regard to the shenanigans that have been going on around the league lately. Jocelyn says, I was watching that Detroit game. Larkin got cross-checked high, got hit again, and basically just fell down. Then Perron went after Zub because he was standing over Larkin. It was just an ugly-looking situation. Jocelyn, I am 100% with you on that one. And we'll find out what the discipline will be for David Perron. Scalding Gord, talking about the Evander Kane hit, says it's about respect. Kane doesn't have it for others. Check out the Goodbranson clip from today. That should be a big-time suspension. Complete attack. Too much like Bertuzzi. Ooh, that was bad. The Bertuzzi incident back on Steve Moore of the Colorado Avalanche basically broke his neck and cost him his career. Sean says Larkin incident last night was certainly scary. I think it was a perfect storm of getting hit on the right spot at the back of the head. Then as he was falling forward, he also got a forearm/elbow shiver from another Ottawa player to the side of the head. I've watched plenty of boxing/MMA fights, and those shots on the perfect spot either put someone to sleep or knocks them off their equilibrium. Hope it's nothing too serious. That one from Sean. Sean, yeah, that's a great way to describe it. If it hits him in the right spot or twice in the perfect spot, boom and boom. Yeah, because Larkin, it was scary. He crumpled. He really crumpled yesterday. And then subsequently, we saw Perron go after Artem Zub. And as Jocelyn pointed out, Zub was kind of standing over Larkin at the time. So not good. And then if you missed the Florida Columbus stuff, it's all over Twitter right now or X, and just absolutely zany. So we'll see what kind of fireworks happen between the Oilers and the Devils this afternoon. Hopefully it's more so the light, the red one getting lit a bunch of times. And if you're an Oiler fan, more times for the Oilers as opposed to for the Devils. Both teams playing really, really good hockey, getting great results lately. Edmonton, the 6-game winning streak. The Devils wins in 6 of their last 7. And TJ from DeBoers chimes in. Tommy G, awesome to hear you on EST and with the team. First time tuning in pregame. TJ from DeBoers. Go check out DeBoers down on 99th Street. Great shop. All you need for golf is down at DeBoers. And TJ, thanks for tuning in. Great to hear from you, pal. That'll do it for the Oil Stream pregame show. The Oilers and the Devils clash this afternoon down at Rogers Place. Puck drop in about 13 minutes. That'll give me time to leave the EST satellite studios and walk over to the rink and get settled in. A big thank you to Catherine Bogart from NJD.TV for stopping by to give us the Devils perspective. Thank you to Mark Ciampa, my old boss at Oilers TV, who now is running the digital component of the Devils and the 76ers, and then probably soon the Washington Commanders because the ownership is the same for those 3 franchises. Chops, thanks for getting Catherine on today. Really appreciate the help as always. And then Matty Kassian, great stuff from him during Game Changers. YouTube Trev, keeping things going back at EST HQ. So for YouTube Trev and Matty Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks for tuning in this afternoon. Enjoy the Oilers versus Devils. We will catch up with you right here following the game. Ciao for now.